Marxism and communism are ideologies that have had a significant impact on the world stage for over a century. But where did these ideas come from, and how have they spread throughout the Western world? Marxism and communism can be traced back to the writings of Karl Marx, a German philosopher and economist who lived in the 19th century. Marx's ideas were revolutionary for his time, and he believed that the proletariat, or working class, should overthrow the bourgeoisie, or the owners of the means of production, in order to create a classless society. Marx's ideas gained traction in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, and socialist and communist movements began to spring up around the world. These movements were often met with resistance and repression, as the ruling classes saw them as a threat to their power. One of the most significant events in the history of communism was the Russian Revolution of 1917, in which the Bolshevik Party, led by Vladimir Lenin, overthrew the Tsarist regime and established the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union would go on to become the world's first socialist state, and would have a major influence on the spread of communism around the world. During the Cold War, communism and capitalism were locked in a global struggle for supremacy. The Soviet Union and its socialist allies faced off against the United States and its capitalist allies, and tensions between the two sides often escalated to the brink of nuclear war. But by the late 1980s, the Soviet Union was facing a range of economic and political problems, and in 1991, it collapsed, bringing an end to the Cold War. Despite the fall of the Soviet Union, socialist and communist ideas have continued to have a presence in the world. Marxism and communism have also had a complex relationship with the feminist movement. Some feminists have seen these ideologies as a way to achieve gender equality, while others have criticized them for failing to address issues of race and class. Feminism is a movement that seeks to advance the rights and status of women. It has a long history, with roots dating back to the 18th and 19th centuries. Many early feminists were inspired by socialist and communist ideas, and saw these ideologies as a way to achieve gender equality. Marxist feminists, in particular, argued that capitalism was a key obstacle to women's liberation, and that a socialist revolution was necessary in order to bring about true gender equality. They believed that private property and the nuclear family, which they saw as integral to capitalism, were sources of oppression for women. Other feminists, known as socialist feminists, sought to combine Marxist ideas with a more intersectional analysis of gender, race, and class. They argued that the oppression of women was not just a result of capitalism, but also of patriarchy and other forms of oppression. In some countries, feminists have worked within socialist and communist movements to bring about change, while in others, they have formed independent organizations. Marxist and communist movements have often used the tactic of subversion to infiltrate and influence governments, political parties, and other institutions in order to spread their ideas and bring about change. It should be noted that the historical parallels and similarities between Marxism and National Socialism, aka Nazism, are more than just a few. Both the National Socialist regime and the Soviet regime were authoritarian, and both were known for their repression of dissent, and their strict control of the media, and other forms of communication. One theory that has been proposed to explain the enduring influence of these ideologies is horseshoe theory, which suggests that the extreme left and the extreme right are more similar to each other than they are to the center. According to this theory, both the far left and the far right hold dogmatic and radical views, and are opposed to the values of liberal democracy. Another factor that has contributed to the enduring influence of Marxism and Nazism is the manipulation of the left-right paradigm. The left-right spectrum is a way of categorizing political ideologies based on their views on economic and social issues. However, this paradigm is often misunderstood and can be manipulated to artificially divide the public along political lines. Whether it is through the use of horseshoe theory or the manipulation of the left-right paradigm, these ideologies continue to shape the way we think about politics and the world around us.